In this presentation, we are going to study about the administration under the East India Company. In last presentation, we have discussed about the British conquest of India, and then we have discussed about the annexation policies followed by the British, subsidiary alliance, doctrine of lapse, supreme paramountcy, and direct annexation. These are the various types of policies that are followed by the British to annex the Indian territory. And after annexing many territories, British found that increased territory was very difficult to manage for them. So for this, with the guidance of the British government, English East India Company adopted a few administrative policies which had two main aims. That is, maintaining and strengthening their hold in India and maximizing their trade profits. To maintain and strengthen their hold in India, this British East India Company created four agencies, and they are civil services, army, the police, and the judiciary. The civil service. Lord Cornwallis, the then Governor General of India from 1786 to 1792, founded the civil services in India. These Indian civil servants were responsible for law and order and revenue administration in the districts of India. Here, this Indian civil service has been described as the steel frame of a British Empire for its vital role in sustaining the empire for a long time, because this Indian civil servants were the one who ruled. It means were the one who framed the entire uh, administration structure, and they played a vital role in enacting the empire for a longer time. At first, you see, all the Indian civil services were the British. And later, because of agitation, the Charter Act of 1853 allowed Indians to join the civil service through the open examination. Yet, of course, even though Indians joined the civil service examination and they cleared in the open competitive examination, yet the higher post in civil services continued to be held only with the British, that is, the magistrate or a collector of each district. The higher post is that each district has a head known as a collector. So with this new system of civil service, the British were able to recognize or British were able to keep intact with the law and order and revenue administrations in the districts of India. And the next is the army. The army is one of the main administrative system or the agency that was followed by the British, because the army was an integral part to the consolidation of a British Empire in India, defeating their empire from rival imperial forces. And all those are members of an army were the Indian soldiers. Mainly, the British army consisted of a large number of Indian soldiers whom we call it as Sipais. However, the commanding officers were mostly the British. And every commanding officer in the regiment of the Sipais or in the cantonments were the British people. The Sipais, every Sipais of Indian soldiers, whom we call it as Sipais, lived in the cantonments and were given a regular salary with the British, so that they remained always loyal to the British Empire. And the next very important administrative policies followed by the British in controlling or in keeping it intact or in managing the law and order is the police. The British created the police department to enforce law and order and to prevent crime. Each district was divided into police jurisdictions called police stations or thanas. And you see, each as if we have an inspector who is in charge of every police stations. In those days, the each and every police station, which we call it as a thana, was headed by the head constable, whom we call daroga. And this head constable is responsible for that thana, for that station, and he used to report it to the superintendent of police of that particular district. And the superintendent would report it to the district magistrate, and this police played a vital role in forcing the Indians in obeying the British, and they also prevented the crime. And therefore the police department, which was made by the British played a vital role in forcing the Indians into obeying the British and preventing the crime and enforcing the law and order. The next very interesting agency, one of the forum agency was a judicial administration where the British introduced a rule of law and equality before law. It means no one was above the law and everyone was equal in the eyes of the law. But until the British arrived in India, the judicial system of India was based on two religious factors. That is, it was based on Shastras for the Hindus and Sharia for the Muslims. And after the British arrival in 1772, a new judicial system was implemented that is known as Adalat, where the Hindu Pandits and Muslim Qazis helped the British judge in giving the proper judgment and in interpreting the laws. These courts tried both the civil cases and the criminal cases. Only after the arrival of the British, the judicial system was equal. The British introduced rule of law and equality of law. And in order to ensure that every citizens of India get the equal right and equality before law, in 1865, the British government or the East India Company created three high courts, that is in Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras presidencies. At the lower levels, they created many number of district courts and subordinate courts were established. And all these courts and all these administrative policies were established in order to ensure a law and order and to prevent the crime in order to control the India over a vast territory. So this chapter 2 is completed.